Hi, my name is Jordan, or JRC the SLP. Thanks so much for being here today. We're going to jump right in because this is the first video of my private practice Q&A series. In my most recent videos, I shared how I just opened my private practice. I wanted to take you on the journey with me because one thing about me is I learn things as I go. So I can help you avoid things that I might have missed. Hopefully you can learn from me as you possibly take on your own journey or just want to learn more about it. So let's get into these questions. The first one is pretty broad and really important. It's like, what do you do? How do you start? What do you do first? So the first thing you want to do when you start a private practice, the first thing you want to do when you are thinking about starting a private practice is just think about what sets you apart. How can you market yourself? What do you want your private practice to be? So for me, I knew mine was going to be culturally responsive, neurodiversity affirming, and I knew I just wanted to be really intentional about being child-led and putting family needs first. Some other things that set me apart were I have extensive experience with AAE and Black culture, which is great for the area that I'm in. I'm willing to go into schools, into homes, travel, be mobile, just really be flexible for my families and do whatever I can to provide the best service for them. One of my mottos that I came up with is care that flows to meet your needs. And so I really just wanted to market flexibility and doing what I could to meet families where they're at. The next thing, of course, you want to name your business. You check for availability by state. You can just Google like business name availability, and for Georgia, it's like the georgia.gov website, like the government website. And you just search and make sure your name is available. Going about choosing a name, I feel like is a really personal experience. Mine is RAIN Therapeutic Services, or RAIN Therapy. And RAIN is an acronym. It's my middle name, RAYNE, but it stands for Reaching All Youth Via Natural Engagement. This came from my foundational understanding of I wanted to be child-led, neurodiversity affirming, and knowing that I just wanted to reach families in a natural way and provide child-led services. I feel like a lot of people get stuck on what their name can or should be, and you do really want to start with one. It's great for marketing, but if you're just picking up a couple of clients on the side, it's not that important. You can make your business name your name and credentials, and then you can always update your name or change your DBA, or your doing business as. So if I was to use my name like Jordan JRC Therapy LLC, I could later go in and say doing business as RAIN Therapy when I come up with it. So if you're just pressed to get started, don't get stuck on coming up with the name. Next is your NPI and EIN. Your EIN, your employer identification number, and your NPI, your national provider identifier. Your NPI, I have a personal one. I don't have a business one. That's what identifies me as a healthcare provider. And you'll need that sometimes for contracts, to work with insurance, things like that. Now your EIN, I only have a business EIN. And this is a way to separate your social security from your business. So your EIN is basically your business's social security number. We'll talk a little bit more about separating personal from business because that is important, and that is why you start an LLC. You don't technically need an LLC to get started with like obtaining private clients or marketing or anything like that, but you do need an LLC for certain things, and it's just best practice to have. Now let's get into the difference between a sole proprietorship, LLC, S Corp, or like partnership, all the different types of businesses you can create, and why I chose LLC. So an LLC is just a way to, again, separate yourself from the business. You can open an LLC as an individual by yourself, and the difference between that and a sole proprietor is it's the same as your personal. It doesn't separate your personal assets or your personal finances. But if you create an LLC, it's an entirely separate thing. If anything ever happens with the business, nobody will come for your personal things. You'll also need an LLC to separate your business and personal bank accounts. So if you want to open a business account, which I highly recommend, you usually will need an EIN or an LLC. This makes it way easier to track your expenses and much easier when it comes to taxes, things like that. We'll get into taxes a little bit more in a future video, but again, I highly recommend opening a business bank account pretty much immediately. Even if you're not making money yet, you can fund it from your personal account, but you can still track all of your expenses from that bank account. Choosing between an S Corp, C Corp, or an LLC also was a really easy decision because a corporation, which is an S Corp or C Corp, they have a lot more formal requirements, just things that you have to do, which I didn't need at this point. And if you ever want to grow, you can change to an S Corp or C Corp from an LLC, but you definitely only need an LLC to get started. The next thing that's really important, which I think has worked well for me, is your branding. That's things like obviously your name, your logo, color palette, text, fonts that you're going to use. If you want to have like a motto or slogan, and then you want to have some decent pictures, whether it's just a headshot or like action images, but like you need to build a brand. And then lastly, with that branding and everything that you've done before, you want to create a website that's just really official. People want to go to a website. Even if you have social media, like at the end of the day, somebody's going to click on the website to make sure you're an official thing, just like you would if you were shopping for something important. The next question is, what type of business license do you need? So you're obviously going to need your state SLP license. You don't need an ASHA certification. That's a whole different conversation, but you don't need one. All you need is your state license. And then as far as your business goes, at least it's going to vary by state, but in Georgia, all you need is a regular business registration that you pay annually, and that's your business license. The only other like special license you might need is a sales and tax license, and that's only if you're selling products or merch, things like that. In Georgia, at least, SLP services are not taxable, but you're going to want to look directly in your state. The fee for your annual registration can change and varies by state. When I did my research, they said your annual registration can be from $50 to $400. I've paid about $50 to $150. I think it has something to do with how much money you're making in your business. I'm really not sure. That's another question for another time. The last thing you need to get started would be some type of EHR, EMR, a medical record system or health record system. There's a lot of different ones that people have available, and they can do a variety of things, but I'm really happy with what I'm using right now, which is Simple Practice. This is not an ad. I'm not getting paid for it, but it has been really helpful in scheduling, building clients, just keeping track of everything, and everything is all in one place. People can make payments on there, etc., and you know that it is legit, you know that it is secure. So that's been really great, and both myself and my clients have enjoyed using it. But once you start getting clients, you're going to want a way to make sure you have like intake forms and a place to house everything, and that both you and your clients can access. So this has been great for me, and I can make a separate video talking about why I really like it and the different features that I use on it. So let me know if you're interested. One thing I think is important for brands, businesses, companies of all kinds, even if you're just a content creator, whatever it is, I really think it's important to create a mission statement, and that should guide everything that you do. So your mission statement should state, obviously, your mission, what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you want it to look like, and the outcomes that you're looking for. Whether this is you want to be neurodiversity affirming, you want to help families of color, like everything should be guided from this mission statement. From your mission statement, you might even get things like your motto, you might get ideas for a name. So I would suggest just starting by writing down your ideas, what you want your business to look like, have it all in one place that you can look at, think about. If you are more of a visual person, you can do like a vision board with different words, things like that. But I think it's really important just to have a guiding light or star or post, whatever you want it to be, so you know what you're doing. You don't get lost in the sauce. For me, my name, Reaching All Youth via Natural Engagement, is kind of like my mission statement. I do have a separate one written down, but I know that that's my main goal, is to focus on the child, to make sure that I'm doing whatever I can to enhance their life, be beneficial, and not be harmful. So to summarize everything, I would say to start your private practice or think about getting started, the essential things that you need. First, your mission statement, figuring out what sets you apart and what you want this business or private practice to look like. You need a name, and you should reserve your name through your state government site. You need an NPI and an EIN number. Both of those are free. So you can just Google what you need to get those. And then I'll also put it in the description to make it easy for you to access. Then you want to actually open your business, purchase your LLC so that your name is reserved, you're good to go, and it's under your belt. You have officially opened your business. I also will say that I opened my business, or like bought my business registration, probably like a year before I started doing anything with it. So there really is no timeline. Just do things when you're prepared to do them and when you feel ready. Like, I'm somebody that needs to act on motivation. So when you're feeling motivated, go ahead and jump right in. Start something. And then the last thing you'll need is your EMR or EHR, your electronic medical record system, to make sure you have everything secure and in place. And then you can start building your intake forms, things like that, which again, Simple Practice has some built in already, so that can be helpful. I know there are some other people that like sell different forms and things that you need. I didn't buy any of those and I've been doing fine. So if you want, again, more information on those forms or things that I'm using in my practice on a day-to-day basis, let me know. I hope this is helpful. Be sure to like and subscribe so you'll be caught up on the next Q&A because we're covering a lot more things. In the next video, we'll get into what kind of experience you need. This video is more about like the practical things you need to start a business or start a private practice. But in the next video, we'll talk about your experience and what I feel like I needed to be ready to start my own private practice. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment any questions you have because I will get to them. And I'll see you in the next one.